Hi, I'm Gary, the old geek guy, and I hope you're having a really good day today. On a previous episode, I mentioned that we'd be interviewing my daughter, Terry, who has limitations as well as myself, only her limitations are far greater and have lasted all her life, really. But I thought it would be interesting to talk to her a little bit about it because she can help us understand how she copes with it and how she has used different things to help her with her limitations. And I think that'll help a lot of us as well. So let's get right into it. So this is my daughter, Terry Sanders. She lives in Livermore, California, and mostly known for Livermore Laboratories. And of course, everybody in Livermore has to have a security clearance, a very high security clearance, but that's not true. At any rate, um, she does live there. It's very close to San Francisco and really too far from us. But anyway, we talk a lot on Zoom and weekends and so on and so forth. So we have some good times. But I wanted to present her because she has a disability that far outweighs any disability or limitation I have. And I thought it'd be good for someone who has this kind of a thing, kind of give you an idea, everyone an idea of what kinds of things she has done in the past and what's happened to her and so on and so forth. So Terry, I'm just going to ask you right off the bat here, what exactly does that mean, osteogenesis imperfectum?
Well, I kind of knew, basically what it meant for a long time, but I did have to look it up because I thought, well, you're asking the question, right? So basically it means imperfect bone formation. And it's imperfect genes when the bones are forming. And these genes, they don't work by making enough collagen. Some people who have this disease severely don't have enough collagen, and it's not formed correctly. And the people who have it kind of mildly, like me, they say it's kind of not formed correctly. So collagen is a protein in your bones that it's like your skin. It makes it pliable, and it's in your bones also. So if you fell, it wouldn't be like shattering a China teapot. It would be like, dropping a plastic bucket, that it would give a little and it wouldn't break. So yeah, that's basically it.
So I know whenever I try to explain it, everyone always says, well, why doesn't she just take calcium?
Yes, I've been asked that question a million times. Yes, and it has absolutely nothing to do with calcium. It has to do with the collagen in your bones. So.
And you, even though you say you have a mild case, it really hasn't been really mild for you all your life. In fact, you've had some broken bones and such too. What's happened to you?
Let's see. At 6 months, I believe, I broke my femur, which is my thigh bone. And Mom doesn't remember which side it was. But I do remember when I was 9, I broke my femur. And over the years, I've broken small things, nothing more major than my femur. I remember periods of time where I had pain, like in my tailbone. I had terrible, terrible pain in my tailbone. And all I can assume now is I fractured it and it healed by itself. I remember going through a period of time for several weeks where I had trouble breathing. And there was a pain through my rib cage. I probably cracked a rib. I've done dumb things like done housework, vacuuming the floor without my shoes on, and I smacked my little toe. I've broken each little toe 2 times. So those kind of fractures. So
you probably don't remember the very first fracture. That's when you were born. The doctor broke your leg.
So, okay. That one too. That one too.
You didn't get a cast. You had it wrapped around. You had wrapped diapers, which were cloth diapers in those days. Anyway, that's here or there. Do you still break bones?
I haven't broken anything in a while because I'm very careful. I just don't do things that, like I don't do sports, and I'm very careful. I don't, I try and ask for help if there's something way at the top in the kitchen shelf, But I probably would still break bones if I, did things that put me in that position.
Yeah, right. Um, Interesting too. Well, we don't want to talk too much about it, but your daughter also has the same thing, probably about the same degree that you do. Is that right?
Yes, she's broken fewer times, I think, because we knew she had it from birth, but we were pretty suspect that she had it from birth. And then just a few weeks into being born, she did break her humerus. And yes, so we've done things. We've just been more careful because we knew what to expect with her. But she does have it to about the same degree as me.
Now, broken bones aren't the only effects of this. I guess we call it genetic disease. Would that be the correct term? Genetic disease?
Apparently it is genetic. I don't know. I've never seen a geneticist to see if mine was inherited or if mine was a mutation.
Could have been any-
But so it can go either way, but my daughter has it now because it's hereditary. Yes.
So what other problems have you had over the years?
Well, there's other things that are affected. For instance, you have little tiny bones inside your ear, and they're affected. And so what happened to me and what happens to a lot of people with OI is that calcium builds up around the bone, and then that bone doesn't vibrate, and so then it doesn't amplify sound, and you start to lose your hearing.
Right.
And then also most people with OI, they develop extremely flat feet. And I'm not talking about regular flat feet. I'm talking about extremely flat feet. So flat that your feet obviously turn inward. And then in my case, in many cases of people with OI, their joints overextend. And so in the case of me, my feet are extremely flat and my ankles rotate too much when I walk. So I wear braces that stabilize my ankle and bring my arch up a little. I call those my little feet jails because that's what they feel like. Also, so with that comes, because I can't move my feet and my muscles down there around my ankles, they become very weak. And so at night I have cramps. And so I have to take supplements for that. So a lot of times I'll wake up in the middle of the night with the cramp. Also, my bones and joints have deteriorated sooner than a regular 58-year-old person. I probably have the bones and joints of a 78-year-old person. So, so all those things are kind of accelerated because of this bone disease.
In fact, you've even had a hip replacement and probably need something with a knee now, right?
Yeah, I did have a pretty amazing hip replacement surgery in 2018. Had an extremely courageous doctor, young doctor. Later on, he told us that he had a lot of opposition from his colleagues because they didn't think it was they thought it was too dangerous, didn't think it could be done. And later when we thanked him for how wonderful it all turned out and how great I felt, he said, yeah, I wasn't really sure how that was all going to turn out, but I'm glad it turned out. So he came off very confident, but apparently he saw that there could be a lot that went wrong, and he was just glad that it didn't. So yes.
So then the big question is, how do you cope or overcome these physical problems? For instance, your hearing. You've done a couple of things with your hearing. One obvious.
Well, when I was 15, I had surgery on my right ear to replace the little bone that was covered in calcium deposits. And it was replaced with this stainless steel wire. And sadly, about 15 years later, I noticed a decline in my hearing. And then when I went in to see if anything could be done, more surgery, they said that there's too much nerve damage. You know, as you get older, you just get nerve damage. And so they recommended hearing aids, which I resisted for a long time. But I did finally get them. They're fabulous. They're digital. Don't know why I got along without them for so long. You know, why resist something so great? We also learned American Sign Language, my husband and I. for a couple different reasons, but it really does kind of come in handy sometimes. And over the time that I've been, because you gradually lose your hearing. You don't just like wake up. Very few people. We have a friend who just woke up one day without being able to hear, but you gradually lose your hearing, and so you adapt. And so I've noticed that I could read lips, not super well, but I could read lips. You start to learn to read body language, facial expressions. You see things because you have to. You have to adapt in that way. See what other things. The one thing I really love about my hearing aids is they have Bluetooth, which means I can have conversations through my hearing aids, just like a regular person would have Bluetooth in their ear. I listen to music. I listen, to all kinds of stuff with my Bluetooth. So hearing aids just like come leaps and bounds, just wonderful. I have little tools like my little reacher, they call it reacher grabber, where, if something's way up high, it's a tool that has a little grabber thing and you can grab things from the top.
Yeah, I meant to mention something about that too, that you are a shorter person. My wife is short, your mom is short, she's 5'4", 5'3", and you're a lot shorter than that. And that's also a symptom that is because of growth and so on and so forth.
Yes, that's right.
Anyway, so what else? Yeah, and for instance, what about your mobility? You being able to walking and getting around? You mentioned something about your ankles and feet already.
Yeah, so my braces, I wear braces on both feet, and it sounds like, oh, that would be great. You can walk probably for miles. I can't. Even with my braces, it's hard just to walk down to the mailbox, which is probably 100 steps, and then back. My feet I'm exhausted. So I do have a mobility scooter. I actually have two. I have one that's kind of a heavier one that I take my dog for a walk every single day, and we enjoy the outdoors and have a really good time. And I have a smaller one that I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's easier to put in and out of the car. I could do it completely by myself. So, when I go to a store when I go to a store, go shopping, we take that and I can get around and do what I need to do. So I really think that's a real blessing to have something like that.
I might mention, and in fact, you might mention too, that you really do walk. I mean, you can walk around the house. So, it isn't like you're totally in a wheelchair with this phone.
Right.
Good. I was going to ask you too, and you mentioned a little bit about it. Do you use any of the accessibility features on the iPad or the iPhone? Like, for instance, for hearing, do you connect it to your iPad so you can hear like things going on better?
I do. I really like that these hearing aids are Bluetooth because they can connect to my phone and they can connect to my my iPad. And so sometimes if I'm watching, because we don't have a lot of TV, we just watch streaming. So if I'm streaming something on my iPad and I'm just watching it by myself, I can stream it right into my hearing aids, and it doesn't bother anybody else. I'm the only one, that could hear it. And same thing, with my phone, I listen to music and that kind of thing through my hearing aids.
Very good. Okay. What about support, like from websites or something that might interest other people that might have limitations, maybe not osteogenesis imperfecta, but something else where they can get support? Has the internet helped you at all with that, by understanding your problems and such?
I've never really looked into websites or anything because I've kind of figured it out on my own, or I do like, if you're interested in osteogenesis imperfecta, you can look into the OI Foundation website, and they talk about research that's being done, and they talk about other things, and I think they even have, I haven't been in there in a while, but they have things to help you out, people to get wheelchairs and things like that. I'm going to say that I've really never done any research about anything that I've on websites.
Well, what I'll do is we'll put that website down below if somebody wants to look into that. Of course, the biggest support has been your family, your husband, and your sisters and brother, and so on and so forth, I assume, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what kinds of exercise or things can you participate in? I know that when you were very young, you tried a few things. In fact, I remember your roller skating
Yeah.
incident.
So
Caused a problem.
when I was younger, I guess I was trying to keep up with my sisters. I'm sure my mother didn't really enjoy, me doing stuff. It was probably a constant worry. I know that because that's how it was with my daughter. Letting her try something new, it was like a worry. And John would let her jump out of airplanes with the parachute. And I didn't want her on the back of a horse, so there was always a balance we were trying to find, for her. Yes, when I was 9, I was roller skating, and I did break my femur. I remember one thing they said, they noticed that when they did all the x-rays and everything on my femur, there was a little mended fracture. There was a little mended fracture on my femur. And I think you or mom asked me, did you hurt yourself? And I said, I remember it hurt for a long time. And I guess I kept going to ballet classes and kept, I guess I was sort of used to pain, I guess. But apparently I had fractured my femur. And then when I really fractured my femur, they found it. So when I can get to a swimming pool, swimming is the best exercise for people with this condition. I am such an excellent swimmer. I can honestly say if I could swim hard laps for 45 minutes without stopping. And then I could probably tread water for about 45 minutes, maybe an hour straight. I'm an extremely strong swimmer. The other day for $25, I bought a machine that's called an abdoer, and you sit down and it has resistance in the arms and the whole thing. So that kind of exercise is real good too, because there's no way, you can break anything because you're just sitting. So
I've done a few things. That's good. And like most people, even myself, and I'm in my very small limitations that I have, which I've already mentioned in other episodes of this, the old geek guy. You have hobbies, and also you even have a business. What kind of hobbies? And you have one that you've done for years and years.
Yeah, I do embroidery, and I also do quilting. And I've tried different crafts here and there, something that's just quiet where you're sitting. I also have an online selling business. I've kind of found a niche with fabric because I know fabric and I've been quilting for many years that I'm quite surprised how successful it's been this year. So I used to do some mystery shopping, but when my hip started going bad, it was hard for me to walk into stores and do my business there. So that's kind of fizzled off. It's kind of dwindled back a little. So that's what I do. I have a couple of home businesses and hobbies that are just quiet hobbies.
Yeah, that's good. Very good. Well, we'll put a link on your business down there. I think it's Etsy, right? Is what it is.
It is, yeah.
Put that link down there for those who might be interested in some of the items that you have for quilting. And I just want to say thanks a lot, babe. You are my daughter. I love you dearly and everything. And we just hate to see things that have happened to you in the past. But one thing has always been encouraging to us is the way you've lived with it, coped with it. And not only that, just advanced and done so many other things that, are just normal everyday things. That's good.
Yeah. Well, I always feel like there's no sense in complaining when there can be nothing done about it. So may as well be positive, right?
I also like to say that we saw Elsa in the background. So.
Yeah. I saw her wandering around back there too.
Okay, well, thanks a lot. And,
okay, Dad.
We'll see you this weekend on Zoom.
Okay.
Again.
All right. Love you, Dad.
So I hope that gives some folks a little bit of idea of what limitations they might have, and also how limitations are overcome to a certain degree.
whether it be technology or maybe physical things like scooters, embraces like my daughter has been using. And she does use a little technology as well. She uses computers and so on and so forth. So I'll be leaving those 2 links that she mentioned down below. And for now, we'll call it a day. So thanks very much for watching. This is Gary. I'm the old geek guy.